It don't wash off. Trust me, that's not ink. Well, I mean, it's ink, but it's permanent ink. You know what I'm saying? And I know you do. What's up, people? Do we have anything to talk about tonight? Woo! Often imitated, never duplicated. Nah, that fool with no hair that shouts like Ric Flair. Woo! What? Woo! The R8RBEAR! Woo! Maybe a long one tonight. R8RBEAR! Alexa, hush! Tradish! R8RBEAR Live! First comment, woo! MVP tonight goes to... Oh, on YouTube. John the Lion! Leon! Always catching L's but never taking losses. My guy, John Leon. By the way, he uses that with at work and with all his friends now. He goes, yeah, I'm always taking L's, but I'm never taking losses. I know he's using that. I know he is. Okay, sorry. There was something under my desk bumping my cable to my camera. My camera started jumping around. Hey, this show does not have any general managers or producers or supporters or any of that. Okay, all the magic is done by yours truly right here. No, I don't want to hear about Mama Bear. No, I don't want to hear about that. I'm just playing. She does everything. Second place, woo! Silver medal goes to that emoji making son of a monkey, Mark Vargas. Sup, Mark? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. Mark, I always forget, but don't you live out here in Arizona with me? You got to come be on the show, man. Third place, my bronze medal goes to S.A. Big Dog. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. And if I ever call you D, it's just for dog. You know what I'm saying? So what's up, D? Welcome to the show, brother. Always there for R8RBEAR. Honorable mention goes out to Jim Vanderlyn. I know you guys can't mess with him right now. Well, I mean, I guess I'm the only one doing that, but he's on the bench right now, okay? He's healing up, getting ready from tendonitis. He had to have surgery for his sacroiliac. Oh, an honorable mention to my friend Bob Standard and James and Princetta Walker who are watching me on YouTube. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Facebook. Numero uno el jefe tonight. Back in the winner's circle, and all I had to do was tease him about it. That's all I had to do was say, hey, man, where you been? You haven't been winning very much. What's he do? He gets back in shape. He's hitting the bag, running the streets. Carlos Boykins. He's the only one I bring down like that. So hope you like that, Carlos, because that's how I would announce you. LP's in the house, as always. Lucky Pace! Have you ever heard of one of those guys whose voice is like so sultry that they could just talk you right out of everything you own? You give them the shirt off your back. He's got like butter voice, you know what I mean? It's smooth. Oh, look at the bounce back. Third place, my bronze medal goes to that young man I was just talking trash to. Jim Vanderlyn! Now, normally I never allow dubs. But since, Jim, you didn't win in the YouTube round, I'm giving you the Facebook round because you were legitimately third. Otherwise, it would have been DK, Dustin, and he's a former heavyweight champion. So, I mean, he knows what this is like. So, you guys need to stop messing with his feelings like that. Honorable mention to Coretta True. Hello. Sup, girl? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. Oh, and Tony Make a Dip. Another one of my favorite nicknames. What's up, T? Welcome to the show. Corinna always getting her bear. Remember, if you like the show, please like and subscribe on YouTube. We'd really appreciate it a lot. All you have to do is tickle that little bell over there, and then whenever I'm going to have a show, it'll announce it to you. But I usually only log in like 3 or 4 hours before my show time. So if you don't see it early in the morning, that kind of thing, that's normal. You usually won't see it until about 3 to 4 hours before my show time. The reminder will pop up and then you'll know. And if you can, on Facebook, consider a subscription. Now that one's $5 a month, but even if you started at the beginning of the year, it's only $60 for the entire year. But anyway, it's only $5 a month and you can cancel it any time, but your coins and your subscriptions go to helping us with the show and with charities that we work with all over the world. I've been trying to learn how to get that out faster so I can just say it in the beginning, shut up about it, and we can move on to Raider business. Jim Garrison, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show, yo. Let's go. I like that. JP's in the house. What's up, Jesse Parker? My fashion designer right there. Oh, he's made me a pair of shoes you wouldn't believe. It actually says TSL on the back. It's subscribed TSL. And people are like, TSL, what does that mean? I'm all, the shirt legend. I love that stuff. Richard Chavez Jr., what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Okay, so let's just get a few things out. Let's just get a few things out in the open. Bob, I'm even going to post that you said that because I don't want you to think that I'm slipping on you. Bob, I've had a little bit of an issue with the house and some of the work that we've been doing, but it is now finished. So I will be going on and getting back with supporters at 4 o'clock. So for everyone listening, supporters only, get supporter only time at 4 p.m. with me. We talk personally, one-on-one about the Raiders and life and our wives and our kids and our husbands and our jobs and all that stuff. And it's really fun. Well, I think it's really fun. And they seem to think it's really fun. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and say it's really fun. Oh, okay, here we go. No, Corinna, no. We're not giving the Chiefs new nicknames. We're not even discussing them. It is so obvious that the fix is in. At this point, it's almost embarrassing how the NFL is literally telling their referees to find reasons to edge the game toward Kansas City. It's disgraceful. I'll be honest with you now. I want to be very clear. Did the NFL and their players just start cheating now? Think about that. No, of course not, right? The NFL has a long history of doing this kind of thing. But here's the difference. In the past, you had battles between the Raiders and the Vikings that were legit, where the best team made it to the end. You had battles between the Dallas Cowboys and the Niners that were legit battles where the outcome was not decided other than if they were the best teams throughout the year. And then you start getting close to the playoffs. Because playoffs, I don't think that every game is that way. I don't think that. I think that after the first 4 or 5 games, the team that really shows itself as an up-and-comer. Look at the Lions. As soon as the Lions last year, the year before that, started to look like they were kind of on the way back, and Dan Campbell, the head coach with all the charisma, he gets great ratings, the QR ratings, they have him off their charts, they love him the same way Raider Nation loves John Gruden. Okay, so Campbell's current, he's right now, he's hot. So he gets the guys, he gets the girls, he gets the young people, he gets the moms, their ratings are off the charts. So they wanted the Lions to do it. The problem was they ran into a team that could score enough points that they could make the ref almost irrelevant. And that was the problem. The Redskins got that offense. They don't really have much defense. They were giving up points too, but the Lions didn't execute. And they should have. I mean, let's be honest, because we saw what happened to the Redskins or the Commanders after that. So I say no to bringing Patrick Graham back as defensive coordinator. Jesse, even though the philosophy will be similar, he won't be back. And to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick Graham's resume is already, getting floated around. Now, when you're coming from Patrick Graham's situation, you can't just throw yourself into the head coaching argument, because the only head coaches that get looked at year by year are the ones that are able to kind of polish up their resume a little bit. And so there'll be defensive coordinators, there'll be offensive coordinators in the hot talk for who's going to be the next head coach for this team or that team. But you notice it's a select few defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators whose names you really hear. And then a handful of older guys get interviewed, and then they pick the young, hot guy or the young person coming out of college that won at that level and looks like a hot coach. And so the NFL goes with that guy. And one of their NFL owners goes with that guy. Now, having said all that, that's why I think Graham is going to have to just go back into the cycle, because he's not coming off of winning. He's not even coming off of dominance. He's coming off of turning the defense around, getting a lot of play out of a team that had some injuries, that were missing some players, and having holes, at linebacker and places like that he was able to help us shore up to a certain extent. Because he did. We can't forget what he did last year, in those last 5 games. Our defense was one of the best in all of the NFL. That's not a small thing to say. Mid-year is when the team completely clicks, and now suddenly it's top 5 defense throughout the NFL. I mean, come on. So to me, that's something on his resume that makes him look pretty good. Hey, Tommy. Hi, Mommy and Grampy. Tony, you know how it is, man. Come on. Chiku Kentu said, Raiders! I'm back in Klamath Falls, Oregon now, Bear. Oh, okay. Right on. That must be nice. Steeler Val, you're talking to her. What's up, Stephen Shaw? Welcome to the show, brother. Jim Garrison said, Marshawn Lynch was at Pete Carroll's introduction presser. Raiders. Well, obviously, and I know you know this already. Almost everyone watching knows this. I only say it for the one viewer that might not. But yes, Marshawn Lynch played for Pete Carroll with the Seattle Seahawks. And it's amazing that Marshawn Lynch still got love for Pete when he knows it was Marshawn Lynch's call. When he knows it was Coach Pete's call when he tried to give Russell Wilson the touchdown that would have won their second Super Bowl and would have stopped Tom Brady and the Pats from getting another one. But instead, he decides to tell Russell Wilson, throw it in the air. Even though the play prior to that, Marshawn Lynch had the ball and ran for like 16, 17 yards. Straight arm 2 guys, spun off another one, and got inside the 5. And then your next call is a pass play? I want to be clear. I'm not trashing Pete Carroll. I'm not. I love the guy. I'm defending him already because I was not all on board until we were all on board. In other words, I was waiting for the Raiders to pull the trigger. Now, if you remember correctly, it was a week ago. I told you it was down to 2 guys. Okay, it was Ben Johnson or Pete Carroll. Now, Steve Spagnuolo actually gave a really good interview. At least that's what I heard. So that was why he had actually jumped ahead of the line on a lot of other guys and was 3rd in consideration. So if we hadn't nailed it and Pete Carroll hadn't wanted to come back with us, then we'd have Steve Spagnuolo right now. So, if any of you are mad about getting Pete Carroll because he's too old and things like that, that's fine. I get it. But did you want Steve Spagnuolo? Because to me, Steve Spagnuolo is a proven loser. Now, when I say that, I want to be clear. I don't mean that entirely. As far as a defensive coordinator, I would absolutely want him. He as far as a defensive coordinator, Spagnuolo is the man. He can put together a defense and get a team of guys believing in that defense so much that he can improve your defense with the same guys, even if they had a bad defense the year prior. He is one of those kind of coaches, but he's not a head coach. And every time he's been given an opportunity, I think it might have only been once, but I think it was more than once. But I know he was given a coaching opportunity, and it didn't go well. Steeler Val said, and said the Eagles are going to put butts in the dirty Chiefs. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to give you any football. In other words, I could say to you, the Eagles do this better than the Chiefs, and blah, blah, blah. The Chiefs are going to win. The NFL wants its three-peat. There'll be another distracting, terrible call by the refs, probably two. One in the first half, one in the second to seal it, maybe two in the second half to seal it. And then more importantly, although I like the Eagles, I still feel like they're a little bit flawed. That Jalen Hurts kid is nice. He throws a good ball. And he's a great scrambler, good speed, all that stuff. But he can get banged up, and also he's not super accurate. He kind of reminds me of those guys that they have a cannon for an arm, but they don't know how to take it down a notch and just hit a guy that's open. You know what I mean? He kind of misses on those middle throws every once in a while. Now, I mean, you can say that about a lot of quarterbacks, but there's also a lot of starters that you can't say that about. And Patrick Mahomes is one of them. The guy can throw the ball wherever you need it. It doesn't matter how much we hate him. You got to be honest. The guy can throw the ball wherever you need it. You can throw deep, short, left, right, on the run. Doesn't matter. So the only way the Eagles could win is if somehow they had something PR-wise that could counter what the Chiefs are trying to go for, and they don't. They don't have like a player with a child that survived cancer, which is a beautiful story that they could run all week during Super Bowl week leading up to the game. But the Eagles don't have anything like that. So they're just, they're just there. Whereas all the reporters are going to talk about the Chiefs three-peat. Oh, can the Chiefs do it? Rob Mix, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Oh, you out in Seattle? Okay. John Rogers Jr., how you doing, man? Welcome to the show. Appreciate the love. Troy Gill, always there for a Raider Bear. Brian Paul, Raiders! Okay, look. You can't just come on my show and everybody wants to take my voice away. Quit that. The 15th ranked defense with a bunch of scrubs outside of Crosby, plus on the field all the time. Graham is a miracle worker. Stop drinking the haterade. Damn, Lucky. I got to check and see who's on your account. You've been rough with me lately. I did not say Patrick Graham can't coach. And I will remind you, and in fact, I believe you remember this. I was the one that said he was a tactician, that he literally played chess because on every single play, he was running in defensive calls, as opposed to allowing the captain on the defense to call a lot of plays and then the coach intervene if he hears the play and doesn't like it or wants to change it, etc. With Patrick Graham, it was here's the call, here's the call, here's the call, here's the call every single time. And that was because his film study as a coach, going back to when he was with the New York Giants, he would basically look for plays and moments where my defense and he can go, and make this shift and get sacks, get interceptions and things like that. So I was like ecstatic when we got Patrick Graham. But has he done a great job? I can't go there. You know what I mean? You're saying don't drink the Kool-Aid. You mean to hate the guy. I don't hate the guy. I'm just simply saying that I think we should have been better. I do. I think we should have been better. I realize you can throw at me roster and injuries and stuff like that, but I just thought we should have been better. Now, some of it I blame on the strength and conditioning department too, because to me, when you have that many guys going down, that usually has something to do with the trainer and the trainer in the facility. I'm not sure who's in there right now because I haven't had any need to look, but I'm beginning to wonder about that. Let's see. The refs don't help, but KC is a good team. And if you're going to beat them, you got to knock them out like Saquon Barkley's going to do. Well, Dustin, I agree. I think Saquon Barkley can do it if they stay with that. I don't know if they'll stay with that. Sometimes I see them throw and they get so tricky with some of the plays. I don't understand why they don't just lean on Saquon more. Now, I'm not saying they don't. I know he got a 200-yard game and A couple other things. I saw him do one of the best moves on a play on the field I've ever seen in my life. And I mean that seriously. When he spun, I know you know what I'm talking about, but he spun off the guy and then with his back turned and a guy right behind him getting ready to drill him. He had already seen him and he jumps in the air, does the splits and makes the guy miss. And I don't care if he only got one more yard from that. Okay, and it actually was more than that, but that was incredible. But I don't agree about the calls with the refs. The refs are helping them get where they want to go, and John Leon agrees clearly from that comment. Steven! Ah! Appreciate the love, brother. Yeah, you know, Jesse, I'm on board too. Only, well, here, let me just go over this real quick. I have it right here because I pulled it up before the show so we could all talk about it. Okay, Pete Carroll's resume. Now, Pete Carroll's resume is long, so I'm not going to give you the entire thing. But what I'm going to give you, though, is everything that's pertinent. Okay, so let me explain what I mean by that. In 1974-76, he was at University of Pacific, and he was a graduate assistant there. In 1977, he worked at Arkansas as a graduate assistant, and then with Iowa State in 1978, he moved on to secondaries coach. You see what I mean? It's just the little stuff on his resume. Okay, so I'm fast forwarding to the University of Pacific, 1983. He was the assistant head coach, offensive coordinator. See, I've heard a lot of people saying that, you know, Pete Carroll was the only defensive coach picked or the only one of substance. And that, you know, this doesn't look good. We were supposed to get Ben, and we were supposed to get an offensive genius, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, first, Pete Carroll was the guy who built that, you know, circus of amazing offense that was going on with USC back in the day. Okay, and I know you know what I'm talking about because everyone knows what I'm talking about. His run with USC, everyone was fans of that. Even if they weren't your favorite team, you liked watching USC stomp everybody. Okay, so fast forward from 1983 from the University of Pacific, he gets his first opportunity with the Buffalo Bills in 1984. Let's see, as a defensive back coach. Then he goes on in 1985, so he's only there 1 year, moves on to the Minnesota Vikings, again, defensive backs coach. Now you're seeing all the defensive background. Okay, now, fast forward. Here's his first opportunity in the pros. New York Jets defensive coordinator from 1990 to 1993. Now you notice, not a defensive backs coach anymore, full-on defensive coordinator for the Jets for 3 years. Does it pretty good, then moves on to 1994 as the Jets coach, and then that's it. Okay, now, in that time, in those 2 years, he was there 1990 to 93, and then not 2 years, 3, excuse me. And then the New York Jets in 94, he went, damn it. Is that 1994? Yeah, he went 6-10. He went 6-10 with the Jets in 94. So that was his last chance. So then he goes to the San Francisco 49ers as defensive coordinator from 96. He's only, 95, 96. So 2 years. And New England Patriots head coach, 97 to 1999. By the way, the San Francisco Niners defensive coordinator position, the Niners, while he was there, were 13-3. Okay, so he bounced back from failing as a head coach with the Jets, only winning 6 games and going 6-10. Then he goes over to the Niners and is their defensive coordinator. They go 13-3. Then he moves on to New England for 3 seasons as he gets another head coaching opportunity with the New England Patriots, and he goes 10-6. Good, right? 9-7, not as good, but I checked that 9-7 season, they made it to the playoffs. And then his last season there, he went 9-7 again and came in second place and just missed the playoffs. So 10-6 made the playoffs, 9-7 made the playoffs, 9-7 came in second, didn't make the playoffs. That's a pretty good run. You know, they called him a loser in the NFL until he got to Seattle and won a Super Bowl. That doesn't sound like losing to me. 10-6, 9-7, 9-7. And that was before Belichick. He was rebuilding that team. So, I don't know, pretty cool if you ask me. Okay, so he goes on to USC and then becomes a god of college and, and goes 97 Listen, 97 wins. God, I can't believe these numbers. 19 losses. 97-19 career win-loss record at USC. That's outrageous. Okay, so then he finally decides to leave the throne. Although, I do remember back, I know Lucky Pace and some of you others will too, he left USC there at the end because of scandal, because of a lot of fixing and paying players, and it wasn't good. And so just like Harbaugh hightailed it out of Michigan, to go to the Chargers, now you got Pete Carroll like, hey, I think I want to try the NFL again. So he comes to Seattle 2010 to 2023 and kicked much butt. I don't have the stat for that. I don't know why. But we know, I remember why, because he won a Super Bowl. I mean, come on, what does it matter what his win-loss record was with the Seattle Seahawks? He turned around the Seattle Seahawks. You know what I mean? It was ridiculous. I remember one year he went 9-7, and they barely made the playoffs. That can't be that one. That's New England. But I know he went 9-7 with Seattle too one season, and he had like a nobody quarterback that looked exactly like Gardner Minshew, long hair and real pasty. You know what I mean? Had that Burt Reynolds look, and I think he won. I think he won one game, and then they got knocked out. And then now, of course, from Seattle in a Super Bowl, he's coming to us. But if you notice, he was with the New York Jets, they got better. He was with the San Francisco 49ers, they got better. He was with the New England Patriots 97-99, they got better. Then he goes to USC and creates a legendary dynasty. That looked like it was being run by a mob boss, but in the end, but he still did it. He got away with it. He won 2 college titles, and then takes his act to Seattle. And come on, guys. I know a lot of my audience is young, but a lot of my audience is not young. You remember the Seattle Seahawks, okay? Come on. Think back. They were a laughingstock. They were always a laughingstock. They were always bad. They never won. They were terrible. They were a doormat. And then Pete went there and went, fix it, win, Super Bowl. All right, I'm out of here. You know? And I mean, and let's be honest, when he lost Russell Wilson and he lost the dominant defense and it was knocked down to its nuts and bolts, he was still winning games and was starting to turn things around with that bum quarterback that they had for a while there. Come on, man. Pete Carroll has forgotten more football than most people will ever know. Now, as far as Spy Tech, I haven't had my chance to do too much on Spy Tech. That's the weirdest last name. I got to do a little bit more homework on Spy Tech before I want to speak really on him. I liked his interview. Very professional. I think he's a good-looking kid. But I don't really want to go into too much about him yet until I really do my homework like I did with Pete Carroll just now. So, Matt Marinovich, I'm not hearing anyone for OC or DC, and I don't count hearing, honks on CBS and ESPN and Fox and so on, just throwing names out there because they can do that. They don't care about their credibility. I don't like to just keep throwing names out there. Again, I brought it up because I wanted to reestablish my credibility, as I always do, especially when Lucky's watching. I told you Ben Johnson. I love Ben Johnson. I told you months before the Ben Johnson thing even got brought up. Then Ben Johnson was in the door. We had him. It was on the hook, the fish. Now, the real reason we lost him at first, I'd heard it had a lot to do with him being able to pick the general manager. I heard that turned out to be a small matter because whether he's going to pick it or not, the Bears already have a GM and you're not hearing about them firing him. So that may happen quietly sometime, at some point, but it hasn't yet. And usually if the guy wants to come in and control that, then they usually just let the guy go before the new coach even gets in there. I know you guys get all that. I'm just saying it for the record. So I said Ben, I said Pete, and I said whatever. I'm losing his Italian name now. And Spagnola. And that was the only 3 people we were really talking to. I don't know if that's good. There were a lot of other candidates, but that's the only 3 we were really talking to. If the Chiefs win, my son will be homeless and deported. For everyone watching, Jesse Parker's son is a big Chiefs fan because he's a brat. Hi, Anna Diaz Rincon. I'm not bad. Yes, I am. Let's see. Mr. Bear, for the Chiefs to win, the refs will have to cheat like last time with that word I can't say. Holding call at the end. They can't stop Saquon. I disagree, little buddy. I'm not saying that Saquon will get stopped. I'm saying they can limit him. If they can hold him to 90, 103, and he doesn't get a touchdown, the Chiefs still got to put the ball in the air. They're going to make the Chiefs put the ball in the air. They're going to make them do it. And it's got to be, they've got to make those moments. And the problem I have with that is that the Chiefs have already seen the best of the Eagles. You know what I mean? This Eagle team is not as good as the last one. I don't think so. Now, you could say they're better because of Saquon. That's obvious. But I feel like the wide receiver they lost and some of the defensive players they lost and so on probably those things may show themselves in the Super Bowl. We're in a much better place than the Cowbums. Yeah. Ellis Irving, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Appreciate the love. I'm doing real good. Had a great day. Jimmy Mata, that's what I'm saying. The Seahawks have never been good. I mean, they were a farce. And then he got there, and it was like slowly tinkered with it. Win. Super Bowl. I'm impressed by that. Okay, Mauricio Cortez says Pete should build around Aiden, Bowers, and Max. Now, Mauricio, I appreciate that, and welcome to the show. And I would say this to you. The only guy that's beaten the Chiefs at home last couple seasons wears our helmet. That can't mean nothing. None of these other teams have been able to do it. They always want to say, oh, you were lucky, blah, blah, blah. Really? Then why haven't one of these other teams gotten lucky? Oh, are we the only team that gets lucky? No. The Chiefs know it, and we do too. R8RBEAR! That one's my fault. Okay, if I lose my voice on that one's my fault. Looking forward to who we get at OC and DC, and hopefully one of them move into head coach after Pete. Rodney Fuller, that's a great comment. I would say this though, I'm not ready to say that the 3 years will be all we'll see of Pete. I'm not ready to say that. Now, a lot of Raider fans saw that as smart because, see, they announced it as, they announced it as a 4th-year option. In reality, it's just a clause. The option's there, but the 3-year deal, when it gets to the year 3, the deal stops. Now it's on management and the ownership to say, do we want to give this guy this next season? And if we do, then, we got to negotiate a new contract with him because you don't want to decide to keep him and then it's just for one season. Unless the person who you're just giving just one more season is pretty old. And getting just one more shot at the apple might sound appealing to him, especially if he's winning. And I don't want him to see it. I don't want to see him draft a great talent and we start winning. Then the second season he's with us, we come in second or first and win the division and win a playoff game. And then his 3rd season, he has another great season and we're standing there going, no, give him the final year. I don't care what his age is. You guys got to get off this stuff with age. It's silly. He's not running the ball. He doesn't have to bust through the middle of the line. I mean, we're crying out loud. We're acting like he's in an old people's chair. He just has to talk. I mean, is he too old to do that? Well, he's not going to bring in new innovative ideas. How much has football really changed since when you saw it the first time till now? I mean, just be honest. It's football. Now has the offense become more prevalent and defenses are harder to shape because so many rules have been restructured to help the offense? I'd say in the last 5 to 8 years, yes. But Pete's not, it's not like he's been away from football forever. And he's been in football forever. He's simultaneously doing both. We need our own Legion of Boom defense. Well, first, we can't call it that. Okay, you can't remake it. I know everyone wants to keep using that name because it sounds super cool, but they got it and they won with it. If they hadn't won the Super Bowl, I'd say we take it because you don't get to establish yourselves as that. But it's like, the Super Bowl shuffling through. Remember the old Chicago Bears and 85 Bears, and that was their song. So you can't do that. You know what I mean? That was their thing. You know what I mean? I don't want to do other people's things, especially when they're legendary. With Pete only coaching for a few years because of age, what are the chances we get someone to work alongside him now and take over 2 or 3 years from now? Well, Dustin, I would imagine that that's being discussed because Pete Carroll is not the... In fact, I want to say this, I was going to say this the wrong way. Let me say this better. Pete Carroll is just the kind of coach you want in this situation. He'll understand that his time is limited. He'll understand and accept that he's grooming the next person. But because of all those things being out in the open, he'll also know that no one's going to undercut him. If we're winning, there's no reason to suddenly install the younger coach, even if he's there, if Pete's winning. You see what I mean? So let Pete win. And if he wins, you let Pete go. If he wins again, you let Pete go. Now, going into year 3, now you consider the kid. Maybe Pete goes up in the box and is still officially the head coach, but he actually allows the assistant, whoever we signed on, to stand on the field and do all the actual working and play calling and so on and so forth. And, be playing the role of head coach, even if he doesn't have the title yet, and then have it the following year. What up, Bear? I like Pete's philosophy. We have to win now and be competitive. Louis Hallwin, what he means by that is it's very simple. If you're not at least competitive, you have no chance to win. But if your team is at least competitive, you can have situations that happen with us when we had our backup win from the extra playoff game, the wild card. I forgot the word for a moment there. But we won from the wild card. The New York Giants had their backup in. He replaced Phil Simms, that guy Hostetler, and he won a Super Bowl. Now, obviously, that was still a good team, on defense and the running back and all that other stuff. But usually when you change your quarterback, you're in trouble. And you got to be competitive. You got to be competitive. And that whole team was competitive. When you changed quarterback, it didn't matter. They kept rolling. Bill, it won't stop until they show a chink in the armor. And I think they showed a chink in the armor this year. In other words, there were a lot of close games for the Chiefs this year. One score being the difference kind of games, just like in this last playoff game. They've been squeaking by teams. That's why the refs' calls are pissing everyone off so much. It isn't that they haven't gotten calls in the past. They did. But not in games that were so close that it looked like the refs are affecting the outcome. Well, now you have a lot of that this year with them. And I'm just hoping that if the Chiefs do win it, then that will be the end of it. Because the NFL is going to want the three-peat story. If they don't get the three-peat story, they lose. I would be willing to bet you they think that they lose millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, because they can't prop up that, superstar. And remember, we're all Raider fans. We can't see that. But at the same time, remember, bandwagon fans like my good friend Jesse Parker's son. He's just a kid. You know what I mean? When you're a kid and you pick a team, it's usually you pick a team that's winning. You know what I mean? That's why you see a lot of kids, they'll look at their local team, and if it's not winning, they look at their parents like, why do you root for that? You know what I mean? Kids don't understand. They just think wins, losses, and glory. So the Chiefs have the youth. You see what I mean? The young kids growing up, they have those fans. Then they have a large sum of fans of their own, plus people that latched on because they won Super Bowls. And so they just, the NFL wants that marketing. Some of these Bucks don't even know what the Seahawks were in the AFC West, and we used them as a punching bag when they were in our division. Bo Jackson running over the boys in Seattle on a Sunday night for a touchdown. Now the Seahawks are in the NFC. Crazy. Great comment, Raider fan. Great comment, Jim Garrison. Appreciate you. Raider fan, how you doing, man? I'm doing great. Welcome to the show. Mark Vargas, I had Jesse Parker and a few other guys asking me if we were going to go defense now because of the Pete Carroll pickup. I don't think so. You got to remember, Pete Carroll knows about offense, okay? He ran it at one of his stops that he made that I mentioned earlier. But he knows that the Raiders, he knows that Raider Nation want us to find a young quarterback. So will Pete be hamstrung by that? No, I don't think so. See, I feel like when Spytech, I will say one thing about Spytech. I did make this comment on my last show when we first hired him. So I'll make this comment. Spytech is known for the fact that he would rather reach out and find a veteran starter that would eventually be replaced with your young future quarterback. Not go get the future quarterback right now and then put him right out there like you saw in Washington. Now, in Washington, they got great results. Jaden Daniels is a cut above. He is just amazing. Now, will he be able to do that in year 2, in year 3? Don't forget the Roger or RG3 effect. You know what I mean? I've said it many times, you guys. You can't judge a rookie quarterback by what they do in year 1. You never can. Because sometimes they're terrible and then they get better. And sometimes they light the league up. And then because the league now starts to get video on that quarterback's tendencies in year 2, 3, and 4, suddenly they're not as good. Look at what's going on with the Niners right now. The Niners are, man, the Niners are in trouble so bad. They got tight sphincters over there because they have to figure out if they're going to keep trusting this 7th round Mr. Nobody that they picked last time and decide, is that really the guy, or did Shanahan just, show what he's capable of and making the guy into something? Because that's what I think it is. Shanahan's a good coach. He can write offense and he can coach offense, but I think he reached on this one. Troy Gill says AOC should start the season. Troy Gill, I don't mind that, but at the same time, if Spytech goes out there and drafts a 5-6 year, veteran quarterback like Jameis Winston, Jameis Winston, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Jameis Winston does command a little bit of respect. He's been in this league now for a minute. He's a complete idiot. I have so many sound bites about him. I could just kill him all day long. But his arm strength is remarkable. He can throw, he can throw a BB at midnight and hit you at 50 yards. He's really accurate on deep balls. I don't know why he's so much more accurate on deep balls, but when it comes to the deep ball, that guy's a Raider at heart. He really is. Jameis Winston did stupid things in college. He did stupid things before he got to the pros. He did stupid things when he got to the pros. Most of all, though, they're all verbal. It's not guns. It's not DUIs. He didn't spousal abuse anyone or anything like that. None of that stuff. He's just an idiot. He says stupid things. But outside of that, he's all right. Now, when he started his career, he didn't look too good because he would throw into pressure and he would make mistakes. But I think most of you that watch a lot of football religiously, you would agree with me when I say Jameis Winston has, without question, gotten better, though. He really has gotten better. He's in my opinion, another year or two from being what you could call a legit starter because he doesn't make the stupid throws as much as he used to. Now, it's because he trusts his arm so much. It's not the alternative. See, when someone makes stupid throws, you get mad because they can't complete those stupid throws. They're too risky. See, that's not the case with Jameis Winston. He can throw a dime right through 2 defenders, and he did it a lot in college, and he can do it a lot in the pros. But he can also get picked off a lot, too, because, these defensive guys are better in the NFL. They're faster. They get taped. They see these plays. They see what he's willing to risk, and they bait him a little bit and then jump the route, and he gets picked. Now, that's how he started. He started to recognize that, and there is a lot of talk that Spytech is looking for a veteran quarterback like that to bring in. Now, as a rule, when your GM is that quick to say, going to be out there looking for a veteran quarterback to bring in, it's because he doesn't want whoever we pick to come in and immediately have the same pressure Jaden Daniels did, because Jaden Daniels was unique. He really was. You heard AP go on and on about him, so AP saw what we now see. But I don't hear anyone else talking about any of these quarterbacks coming out right now like that. Oh, they have a chance. All these guys could be starters in the NFL, blah, blah. But you don't hear the assuredness that I heard from AP about Jaden Daniels. I didn't say anything about what division they were in, Mark Vargas. I'm just simply saying that the Seahawks stunk, and then Pete made them better. Pete Carroll looks amazing. He's still got a few more years in him, but he could outrun most of these young bucks. Well, Anna, I mean, we get caught up with age because of what was happening with politics. In politics, nuclear weapons, okay, we can talk about age. But Pete's not going to declare war against the Chiefs. He's going to declare football. He looks good at 73, and I was amazed the way he was sharp. Yeah, Troy, it's going to be that way. He has, I'm telling you, I know I already said this, but he has forgotten more football than a lot of coaches will ever know. He really has. He's done a lot of press conferences like this. And by the way, he's going to come in and he's going to feel zero pressure. That's what's going to be so cool about it. See, you like guys that have that, what is it we call it? The Joe Cool, right? If guys have that Joe Cool, that it thing. Pete Carroll's got that it thing because he knows he's already made. He won twice at the college level. He won at the pro level, and he should have won twice, but for a weird interception at the 1 yard line, he has 2 Super Bowls right now on his resume. So, having said that, he knows he's a winner. He knows he's proven. Nothing he does for the Raiders, whether he wins or not, is going to be made to look down on him. You know what I mean? You're not going to change your resume because of what you do with the Raiders, unless it's winning.
That's not too loud.
You're too loud. Get over here, girl. You interrupted my show with that pretty face. My favorite part. Wait, get in here, girl. I love your face. No, I can't hear it, and even if I could, why would I not want to hear Dr. Dre? Come on.
Come on, boy.
You have a good night too, Raider fan. The Raiders need to move back to Oakland to get their dignity back. Skywalker DFS, nice cat. I would say this to you, bruh. That's never, ever going to happen. And if it did, it could only happen after like 20 years. Because 1, you just got this gorgeous new stadium in Vegas. 2, if they're going back to Oakland, it would mean that they lost a lot over these next few years in Vegas. And, I don't want that. Nobody wants that. You don't want that. You know what I mean? Even if you're a fan of another team, I often say you don't want that. You know what I mean? I'll be the first to say it as a Raider fan. You want the Niners, the Cowboys, the Packers, the Steelers, the Eagles. You want those teams to be good because those were the first marquee teams, the Colts, that really did it, and raised the NFL from nothing to something. You guys have to understand when the NFL was in its first few years, in fact, I think it went into almost a full decade. They weren't the number one sports on television. It was bowling and fishing and college football and stuff like that. I looked it up. Look it up. But it just goes to show you, where the NFL was and where it's come. You know what I mean? And they've got to keep doing that. Eventually, could Oakland see it in 20 years? The reason I say 20 is not just because of what the Raiders would be doing in Vegas, but because Oakland's infrastructure, as far as their legal system, their police department, their fire department, their city organizers, and the people who do things to help with the homeless and graffiti and, improving the streets and so on and so forth. I was born and raised in Oakland, so I can tell you this hurts me to tell you more than it would anyone else. I hate it, but I had people on the city council in Oakland that would talk to me on the phone when the Raiders were still there. I was that in, and they were letting me know that this is long before they had left for Vegas, when they were just threatening to do it, and John Gruden got hired back and he got those 2 years in Oakland. I already knew it was over. You know what I mean? They were here just legally. It was over. So in order for them to go back, it would take one hell of a miracle. Bear, I agree with Tommy. The Chiefs are weak against the run around the edges, and that's where Barkley lives. Plus, he catches passes. Jim, all of that's correct, but the problem with that is that the Chiefs will sit on that. They will. They will make Jalen Hurts beat them with his arm or his legs or both. They're not going to let Saquon Barkley beat them. Remember, it's one game. If it wasn't one game and this was like week 7 and they were playing each other, I'd say the Eagles have a shot to take it to them. But it's the Super Bowl. It's one game to win it all. They know who they have to stop. They've already beaten this team without Saquon Barkley. So if you get into Saquon Barkley and you just keep running run plays at him, run defenses at him, and just keep him out of the end zone or give him one and that's it. If he ends up with 77 yards and a touchdown, they're going to lose. They need him to get 2 touches and 100 plus. And they need Jalen to play well. They need so many things. Where the Chiefs, they can just do what the Chiefs do. Bait and switch. Show you things with the bait. And then switch, but make it look the same so it burns you and they score. They'll just keep playing that bait and switch on them. And I don't know if the Eagles can deal with that. But we'll see. Daniel's already done better than Dak and Herbert combined with less talent. Mauricio, everything you just said is true, but I do not trust quarterbacks in just one season. I don't care what it is. You know what I mean? Look, Mauricio, look up Dak Prescott's rookie season and his numbers with Dallas. They were outrageous, and then look at him now. He looks like a perennial backup that never should have been a starter. A good backup, but not a starter. And every time he goes down, that kid Cook comes in and wins 5 games in a row. With the same guys. I'm just saying. Matt Marinovich, I'm on board. I'm not a big Jameis Winston guy, but at the same time, I'm penalizing him for all the stuff I heard about him saying grab her by the you-know-what and going into a food fight at his school in his senior year, standing up on a table, throwing food at people. And by the way, he started that event. It wasn't like he walked in and people were food fighting. He went up on a table with food in both hands and shouted that, and then everyone started throwing. Now, don't get me wrong. The Bear's not that stuffy, okay? I kind of like it too. But at the same time, that was cool. And then he'd do something stupid like steal crab legs, which he did. He threw a bunch of them in a bag and he just walked out without paying for them. You know, he does something smart and then he does something stupid. You know what I mean? He actually looked at his teammates once and he said, instead of taking an L, boys, let's go out there and eat a W. Let's go eat a W. He said, eat it. And then he started chewing on his fingers and saying, let's eat a dub. Which might be the stupidest thing I've ever seen a quarterback in the NFL do, ever. Especially when you consider he thought that was motivation. I'll never forget, he had Deshaun Jackson on his team in his prime, and Deshaun Jackson went, man, what? They were stunned. Bill Cox thinks I'm funny. No to Winston. He's a nice guy, but no, he's not a nice guy, Mauricio. I see it the other way. He's not a nice guy, and yes. No, Mauricio, honestly, I agree with you. I don't think he's that great a quarterback, but he's better than AOC is right now. He is. AOC can't hit the deep ball like he can. He can hit it, but not like Jameis Winston. He definitely has a stronger arm. Jameis Winston definitely has a stronger arm. And he's a little bit more seasoned, too. You know, he's been through the wars a little bit. So, and don't get me wrong, Mauricio, I appreciate you turning in. I'm a huge AOC fan. I picked him before we drafted him because I had read over and over again reports about the fact that he was going to be the greatest dark horse among dark horses in this draft. They said that about him. And I said, okay, I'm feeling that. And then I started reading more about why they said that. Completion percentage was the 3rd best amongst all the best quarterbacks in that draft. And by the way, the number 1 quarterback that went, and the number 2 quarterback that went, CJ Stroud and what's his face with the Panthers. Those 2 guys went ahead of him. After that, AOC was 3rd, right behind them at like 97.7 or 97.6 completion percentage. It was awesome. So I think AOC is going to look even better this next year, and he's going to make it tough for them to make a decision. Stephen Shaw, I got to be honest with you. When we first had a shot at Russell before he went to the Broncos, I felt like he was washed up, but he kind of rebuilt himself with the Steelers. I feel like the Steelers, the team around him, allowed him to show, hey, I still got it a little bit. Watch what I can do with a running game, an offensive line, and a coach that trusts me to throw the deep ball. And then Russell looked pretty good with the Steelers. Now, having said that, him and Pete Carroll had kind of a falling out at the end, but when he was trying to win that second Super Bowl, Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson were absolutely on the same page. Pete Carroll was trying to put Russell Wilson on the Wheaties box instead of Marshawn Lynch. He wanted the handsome, peanut butter skin Russell Wilson instead of gold tooth, braids, dancing and cussing Marshawn Lynch, which, makes no sense to me. Marshawn Lynch bobblehead right there. That's my favorite player. That's my guy. Carr makes so much money and would not take a pay cut, and he has so much money. We don't want Derek Carr regardless. He's not the guy, especially now. I mean, he's older and more dinged up than he's ever been in his life. So, no Derek Carr. I know, brother, I remember the days when the teams feared going to Oakland. Now Vegas, they have no home field advantage. Again, Skywalker, well said. They're going through the exact same thing the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion, are still going through. There's just going to be times when the opposing team is going to have more fans in the building because the home team fans sell their tickets. Now, do they sell their tickets to do that? No, they sell their tickets because they can't go to the game. Oftentimes, they're season ticket holders. They have jobs and careers and things that they have to do. Maybe one of their daughters gets married, or they have to be out of the country or out of the state for their grandmother. Who knows what the case may be. Or they just want to make money. Sometimes it's just making money. But I know a lot of good Raider fans that do have good reasons for why they sell their tickets, and it's just business. It's not because of, making money. It's because they have things that come up, obligations. So they'll only miss like a game or two the whole season, but they will miss a game or two. And so you're going to see that. And we're going to continue to see that because the Raiders can't flip Dallas into a Raider town, because what people didn't notice is that if you did a poll of the people who live in Las Vegas and asked them who their favorite football team was before Las Vegas got there, it was the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. Oh, excuse me, Santa Clara. Cowards. Look, we went to Las Vegas. We made our name the Las Vegas Raiders. Why are these clowns in red and gold still allowed to call themselves San Francisco? Why don't they have to go over there and own those pocket protector, computer making nerds as their fans now? Whose fan base would you rather have? Santa Clara and their pocket protectors, or Vegas, baby? I don't think anyone's ever referred to Santa Clara as the city of sin. I don't think Celine Dion's gonna be doing this. I'm sorry, I can't even get the jokes out because I hate Santa Clara so much. Bob Standard, I didn't say bowling to make fun of it. I love bowling too. Eagles probably played their best game a game early. Mauricio, I agree. Mike Brown! What's up, Mike? Prayers for my sister. She had her kidney removed today, so to cancer, and I'm here with her in the hospital staying the night. Aww. Vicky, again, first, God bless you, and God bless your sister. Prayers out to her, but more importantly, doing it and catching up on my show next to her in the hospital. God love you, girl. You didn't say her name, so I'm sorry I can't say her name, but love you, sweetheart. Please get better soon. Raider Nation got you. My audience, I guarantee you, is praying for you, girl. We always got Raider Nation back. So Vicky, again, you give her a kiss from Raider Bear. Well, not from me, because Mama Bear, she gets pissed about that even when it's those, I'm kidding, I'm going to do it. Okay, she didn't hear me do it. Fields or Wilson? Oh, Wilson. I don't like Fields. I don't like Fields at all. George Prieto, I like Russell Wilson. I like him to do the job. I think with Pete Carroll, understanding who he is. See, if we had got him with AP, I don't know if I would have liked that. I mean, I would have still be on board with it, but I wouldn't have had as much confidence. Whereas if we bring in Russell with Pete Carroll, I like that because he already knows what Russell likes. He already knows what Russell wants to run. So if you bring in Russell, it makes the whole thing, the fluidity there. And then look what Russell would have to work with. Arguably the best tight end we've seen in the last decade or two in Bowers. But more importantly now, this draft, what is this draft top heavy? Is it defenders? Yeah. Is it quarterbacks? A little bit. But what's the number one thing coming out of this draft? Running backs. There's a plethora of guys that are quality running backs where you're going to get at least 5 or 6 guys on 5 or 6 different teams that are going to get a real decent running back this draft. So if we should decide, hey, you know what? We'll go with a high defensive player at 6, but then in the second, go get a nice high running back there because you know there'll be one available with there being 5 or 6. They're not going to all go in the first round, no way. So 1 or 2 of them slips down. We get whoever that slip is, and then we go in, finish building the rest of this defense. Bob's your uncle. Jerome Clemens, what's up, man? Doing good. George Prieto, what's up, man? Too much bowling at that time. You know how the NFL is. It's all about image. Now I don't think he can make that mistake. Well, I hope so. Luis Barrios said AP got a raw deal. Luis, I agree with that. I agree with that. But in the interest of being objective, I do want to say this. Although I do agree with you, he did do enough things, in my opinion, that cost him the job. You can't have the turmoil with financial stuff going into the job with him and his wife. That happened. Second, he did not handle the situation as far as timeouts, game management, as far as time clock, game management, who to have on the field when, making sure those players were actually on the field. There were a handful of plays, for example, where he expected a certain personnel out there and they weren't. He was making little mistakes like that, but those little mistakes cost you games. They really do. They cost you games. And I'm not saying he was a bad coach. He was not a bad coach. Had we kept him, he would have only gotten better because the learning curve with the times and things like that, that would have been quashed. But what does it say when he had 2 former playoff-tested head coaches on his staff and they still couldn't keep him tight with that kind of stuff? I just, at some point, he has to take responsibility. He wanted the job. He got the job. He was given 2 head coaches to bring on, defense and offense, in Philbin and the guy Lewis, Marvin Lewis from the Bengals. And Philbin and Lewis were winning coaches. They commanded good teams. And they command respect in the league. And they weren't able to help him, so I don't know. I think that says something. Jason Marshall's got my back. He says 12 running backs will be taken within 3 rounds. I kind of agree with that. I just think of that many, probably 5 or 6 of them are real actual stars and the rest are just pretty good. Alexa, resume! I love that she's so used to me now. I can yell at her and she still gets it. I used to do that and it would go boop, like, didn't understand. But all right, that's my show. Much love. Shout out to our armed forces. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force. For all you do, the energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice. Active and veterans, much love. Space Force, for all you do, the energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice. Active and veteran. I couldn't remember if I said Space Force. I don't like leaving that one out. All right, guys, I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Raider Nation for life. Pete Carroll, let's go.